Hey, hi, hello. Golly, it's the end of Reincarnation? How'd that happen? We started this journey almost a year ago. What the fuck? Hope everyone's doing okay. Sorry, I have like a cough going on. I was watching my friend streaming before this. He was playing Among Us VR in a room full of children. And he was like, "You gotta stand up for yourself, man. Like, you gotta tell them fuck you." And then and then like the kid's grandma was in the background and he was like like, "Tell your grandson he stands up for himself." And his grandma was like, "Yeah, I know." It's just, oh man, I was crying. Like actual tears. Speaking of children, here's Morgana. Last time, Jacopo and Morgana regained their memories, and Morgana was sent home, well, rather taken home by her stepfather. But Jacopo did leave her a note with ways to help, which was really sweet. This week we're gonna finish Reincarnation. It's really great. It's such a warm time. And then we'll do a little bit of extra, and we'll see how time is after that. But let's get into it, shall we? Oh, remember, this is a year after everything that happened with Morgana and Jacopo, so.
She's a bit overwhelming. I hope the landlord isn't quite so boisterous. She said he was a pretty young man. Well, I should at least say hello. I can leave my bags inside and unpack when I'm done.
I can feel the nasal part of my voice coming through because oh man, sorry.
Oh, a butterfly. How did you get in here? It's moving kind of sluggishly. Don't worry, I'll get you back outside where you belong. Take care. This is the place. I'm not looking forward to this. Too many new people in one day.
Coming! It'll be just a second.
A woman's voice? But the landlord's a man, isn't he? Maybe his sister or wife?
I'll get it.
Wait, that voice.
It's probably the new girl. We should both go out and greet her.
Huh.
Yep, you were right. It's our new neighbor. It's a pleasure to have you. And yay. It's a pleasure to have you, and welcome to the building. Or, that's what I was planning to say when I opened the door, anyway. I assumed, like everyone else, she wouldn't remember us. So I simply wanted to provide her with a warm, friendly greeting. Help her feel at home. But she interrupted me before I could finish.
We meet again.
Friends. Oh.
Are you just going to keep staring? Don't tell me you don't remember me. I don't want to have to serenade you with a millennium's worth of our dark history together on my first day.
You know who we are?
Would you rather I didn't? Oh, you wound me, my dear.
No, of course not. It really has been far too long. Morgana, I'm so glad to finally see you again. Did you choose this apartment knowing we were here? Did you come here so we could meet again?
You might want to deflate that head of yours a bit. Of course I didn't. If I knew you were here, I never would have chosen to live here. I nearly had a panic attack when you answered the door. Never in all my life did I expect our fates to cross once more.
I see a little reincarnation wasn't enough to change you. Oh, but I know you're just as happy to see us, aren't you? I can see it in your face. You're surprised, but in a good way.
Someone's rather sure of themselves. Seeing that stupid smile of yours, I've changed my mind. I'm annulling the contract and finding a new apartment. Farewell.
Whoa, you're joking, right? We haven't seen each other in so long. Could you perhaps set the acridity aside for just for the occasion? Remember, we agreed to become friends if by some infinitesimally low chance we were able to meet again. Or did you not hold that promise as dearly as I? Because it meant quite a bit to me.
You silly man. Not good friends, and not acquaintances either. Just plain friends. I can't believe it's actually happening. So yes, let's.
Yes, let's be friends! Well, it's good to have you here, Morgana. If there's anything you need, let us know.
The pleasure's mine, Giselle.
Friends. On that fateful day, we found each other again. I knew nothing of her life from before our reunion, although the same could be said of everyone. I believe that our crossing paths was a sign of good fortune, the start of a new, brighter chapter, free of the kinds of tragedies we'd once endured. I only had my own experiences to compare against, though, and I couldn't say whether anyone else's new struggles and ordeals felt the same way to them. Nor was there anything I could do to help them through them either. Which was probably for the best. People's lives were not a thing you could, or should, simply go sticking your nose into. It was their life, and their choices to make, not mine. And I assumed circumstances were different enough from before, that they had the freedom to make their own decisions this time. Time trotted onward unwaveringly, and soon the first week of June was upon us. The first few days we mostly spent catching up with each other, sharing stories of both this life and past. But now things had settled into a more normal routine. Morgana had evidently been through quite a bit before moving into our building. And while she didn't go into any detail, but between the lines she painted a picture of a troubled relationship with her family. At one point, I asked if there was anything we could do to help, to which she responded, "It's already been taken care of." Seeing the relief on her face and hearing it in her voice, I took that to be the honest truth rather than an attempt to downplay her situation. So I left it there, and that was all I knew from before she moved in. Naturally, I was more than willing to lend a hand if need be, but I got the feeling that wouldn't be necessary, at least not in this life. And I meant that in the best way possible. I sensed a strength in her now, different than the power she wielded in past lives. The strength to press forward in the face of any adversity. So if she were ever to take my hand, it wouldn't be me leading her, but the two of us walking shoulder to shoulder. Friends, nothing more and nothing less. Looking at it from a distance, nothing about our reunion could be considered ordinary. But we lived it every day, so it was easy to forget. To fall into the mindset that this was how things always were. That quiet and uneventful was the norm rather than a fleeting miracle. And that was wonderful, I thought. It was something both Morgana and I had long sought after. At long last attaining it in this new life. So I was able to brush off the majority of everyday grievances, including Morgana having turned a bit slovenly.
Giselle! More tea! Coming right up! Giselle, I'm out of munchies.
You ate all of those already?
Giselle, rub my shoulders.
Why, you... All right, sure. Sorry, no, this is one thing I cannot let slide. You can't just come over, throw yourself on the couch, and start ordering Giselle around like she's your personal maid. And you need to stop enabling her, Giselle. She's going to be beyond saving soon if you keep on like this. I'm doing it again. It's like I'm programmed to obey her.
She is my personal maid, so I fail to see the issue here.
She doesn't belong to you, and she's not a maid anymore either. She's mine!
Oh, you're so fussy, my dear. Remind me who it was who said, you can come over whenever you like. Weekdays, weekends, holidays, we're always happy to have you.
Yes, I said that, and I meant it, but I didn't say you could fashion yourself a queen. You sprawled out on the couch, stuffing your face with junk food and playing phone games is legitimate nightmare fuel.
Oh, get over it. The last millennium was very hard on me, so I've decided to take the next 80 years or so off to relax.
I have nothing against taking things easy, but you can't take your whole life off because the last one was too hard. The last few weeks have made one thing very clear. You're even worse than me at taking care of yourself.
Why take care of myself when I can have someone do it for me?
Oh dear, you sound like King Neat era Michelle. Well, you certainly didn't have it easy, that's for sure. I want you to be happy this time as much as possible.
See, Giselle's on my side.
Please don't let her walk all over you, Giselle. She needs to shape up if she ever wants to be able to live on her own. You sound like her father. Oh, on that note, do you have any ideas for when you get out of here, Morgana? Any dreams? Anything you want to do? You're 17 right now, right? So you must have transferred here because there was something you had your eyes on. She's 17. She never got to live that long before. I'd do anything to help you make your dreams come true, Morgana.
You assume the best of everything, and I can only assume that means there's something wrong with your head.
What was that, little girl? Because it sounded incredibly rude.
Oh, you don't need to worry about it. It was merely an expression of surprise. No offense intended. You really don't feel the slightest bit of animosity toward me, do you? If I were you, I'd be praying my dreams ended in disaster, not offering to help make them reality.
Oh, Morgana. Not everyone can hold a grudge as well as you. It's all water under the bridge. I couldn't be happier to have you back. Sure, it may not have been fun at the time, but I overcame those trials, and that experience is an important part of who I am now. Not to mention the only reason I'm here today, living with Michelle, is because you wished for us. If anything, I'm extremely grateful to you.
She makes it sound like I'm the unreasonable one for holding a grudge, but I don't know how anyone couldn't, and I could never imagine coming to see all that pain as important. Giselle and Michelle, they helped me though. They fought to free me from that cycle, and for that they are important. But never in 1,000 years will they hear me say that.
Something on your mind, Morgana?
Oh no, nothing worth mentioning. I was simply admiring the dumb look on your face.
Hey, if it's not worth mentioning, don't mention it. Besties. Well, I should head down. Maria's probably waiting for me. Oh, I didn't realize it was so late. Is there anything I can help with? Nope, we've got it. Everything's going smooth as butter. Butter? I can't even say that word. You should drop by and say hi later on. Bring Morgana, too. Will do. I'll make drinks and bring them down in a bit.
I'm staying right here. This boss isn't going to beat itself.
Gamer girl, Morgana. Me. Now.
All right, we'll see you in a bit. It sounds like everything's moving along nicely.
So smoothly, I'm no longer needed. The renovations are almost complete. She's hoping to open for business by the end of the month. I thought the whole process would take a little longer, and that she would be counting on me for more of it.
We both know you weren't made to play co-op. If you want to help, set up an office and start filling in spreadsheets.
As ruthless as ever, I see. Morgana, could you consider not being stubborn for a few minutes and coming down to see them?
I'm not being stubborn. I was just taking control of my life. You make it sound like I'm throwing a tantrum, but there's a lot more on the line here than a kid whose mom won't buy her ice cream.
Do you think your old memories could ever, say, push you forward rather than constantly hold you back? Not long ago, I had a curious dream. In it, I saw a vision of what seemed to be a park at night. You were sitting on a bench, pleading for me to help you. You said that while I brought salvation to the witch Morgana, in doing so I'd only cause more pain for the ordinary girl Morgana. But I suspect that wasn't just a dream.
Well, you suspect wrong. No such thing ever happened, and I don't need any help.
All right, I'll take you at your word. But if there is even a hint of truth to what I saw, Know that I'm here and ready to help with anything. Not to take your hand and lead you, though, but to give you a push forward. Morgana.
Sometimes I don't understand how I'm still here. Everything in this world has a maximum capacity, and the soul is no exception. During my time in that mansion, I should have reached my capacity. It's no small task binding multiple souls in one place for so long. By all rights, I shouldn't have had enough left to be reborn into a human body like this. Assuming there was enough left to come back at all, it should have been in something more fleeting. But despite all that, I managed to be born into the same generation as you, and it baffles me every time I think about it.
Perhaps because there was another soul inside you that replenished some of that missing energy?
I highly doubt her soul is a part of me now, because if it was...
You'd be more affable?
Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth. But yes, that's what I was going to say.
Oh my god, Morgana, I love you. I think she is in there with you myself. You're softer than when you were the witch. Softer, and you have more heart, too. I believe that in time, you'll start to see more of her influence in you. And that with her help, you'll be able to start truly living in the present, not chained to the past as you are now.
Well, hopefully you're right. He's probably right that the other me is to thank for me being born into this world. But she's not the only reason. I'm sure of that.
But back to my original question. Can I convince you to come down and say hi later? Maria should be there too. You don't have any grudge against her, do you? I'm only privileged to bits and pieces of what happened, but I was under the impression that Maria took good care of you, and you were fond of her yourself as well. Can I assume, then, you simply think a meeting with her would be awkward?
Not at all, Mr. Armchair Psychologist. As I said, I've got a boss who needs...
A boss you've left untouched this entire conversation?
Oh, fine, you win. I'll go say hi, but that's it. You wanted to make drinks for them, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about making some fresh lemonade.
Then I'll help. It's hot and muggy out, so don't forget the ice.
Good catch, Morgana. I wonder what France is like in the summer. Never been to Europe, so... I wonder if it's like humid there. Chairs over here. Oh, and plants by the door. Then we want... Oh, Michelle! And you brought Morgana. I'm so glad you decided to come down.
I'm going back up as soon as you have your drinks.
Hey now, don't be like that. At least have a look at the patio while you're here. We've got a few tables set out in a section of the courtyard. Come on, it's over here. Ugh, I would sit here for forever. It's just lovely, isn't it?
It's not bad. Hey, I got those plants you were talking about. Holy shit! Now there's a face I didn't expect to see. How you been holding up, girl?
Wait, you two know each other? From this time or from before?
No, she doesn't remember anything. We just happened to cross paths about a year ago.
Oh, thank God you remember me. You living in this building now?
Yes. Well, for the last couple weeks at least. I hope you've been well too.
Never been better. I mean, mine is getting tossed out on my ass by my last job.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I'm surprised you can be so casual about it.
As they say around these parts, c'est la vie. And it gave me this chance to work with Giselle, so I can't complain. When life gives you lemonade. Wait, that's not how it goes. Shit.
You know, Morgana's a little different with Maria around. It's cute. Especially compared to how ruthless she can be with us. She seems almost like an ordinary teenage girl.
But hey, if you live here now, that means we'll be seeing each other a bunch. Come down for lunch and I'll make you something special.
I'll consider it.
You do that. Actually, heck, forget that. You should just work here. Giselle would love to have you. We could get you a darling little waitress uniform.
Not a chance. You're not going to need that many hands at a newly opened cafe anyway.
The goal is to make such a big splash that we do need the hands. Gotta go in firing on all cylinders.
A bold claim for someone who was firing on 0 cylinders at their last job.
That's not on me. The place looked like crap in such a crappy location with a crap owner. But the owners here are great. Giselle and her hubby are the most ridiculously sweet couple I've ever met.
We're not married yet, Maria.
You're not? Weren't you talking about fixing that before the grand opening?
She's sharp. That was the plan, but it turned out to be more work than we expected, so we haven't had time for personal matters.
Come on, guys, this is a big deal. This is the sort of thing you want to get done now or you're going to end up pushing it off forever. Say you open for business now, word spreads, and you're up to New Year's and customers. The deeper you get, the less and less time you'll have. Before you know it, your custom-tailored wedding dress isn't going to fit the same. It's no laughing matter. And you just can't let her handle everything. Bust out the calendar and start planning.
Okay, you've made your point. Could we please change the subject? Morgana's like, why is this so fucking normal? Why my leggies always gotta fall asleep? I wish I could sit cross-legged for forever without leggies falling asleep. Alas.
I'm heading back upstairs. Hold up. One question before you run off. Your name? We're basically neighbors now, so I can't keep dancing around what to call you.
Did I never tell you?
No, you didn't. You barely said a word when you came to my cafe with you-know-who. Meanwhile, he had no idea when to shut up, talking my ear off about this dumbass job. Speaking of, you still in touch with him?
I am not, and I intend to keep it that way.
Figured. Something happened between you two? He was talking to me about how we'd never see you again, and he seemed pretty concerned.
It was no one specific thing. That was just how things worked out.
Huh. Well, I'm not gonna shove my nose into private matters I don't even understand. Anywho, names. Mine's Maria, and it's great to see you again.
Fate is a curious thing. I never imagined I would be here doing introductions with her again. My name is Morgana. It's my pleasure.
Morgana? That's a really nice name. Sounds Italian, too. I'm from the Milan area. Love to show you around sometime.
It would be lovely to visit someday, yes.
We could rent a car. Just drive wherever the roads take us. Morgana? Are you not a fan of road trips, then? I'm not married to the idea. We can always do something.
No, I'm fine with cars. That's not it. There's something I wanted to tell you, Maria. Thank you. And I'm so sorry.
Huh? I don't think anyone did anything worthy of thanks or apology.
It's for something you wouldn't remember. Long ago.
You've completely lost me, girl. But I mean, even if anything did happen however long ago, you still don't need to apologize. Everything's totally cool.
If you say so.
Yeah, Maria kind of got shafted. Alas. I think I was right. The white-haired girl is in there with her.
I think so too, yeah. I'm glad they were able to make things work out.
As am I. Not everything's been lined up all nice and neat in a row, but there's not much I can do about that myself.
Oh, Maria, I wanted to ask you something. Would you be interested in throwing a party before the opening for everyone who helped make it happen? And maybe some friends too?
Oh, that sounds great. I'm all in. You already set on who's all coming?
Nope, still in the idea phase. If you'd have anyone you'd like to invite, go right ahead.
You got it, boss. Except I don't know, I just moved to the country and don't know much of anyone. I'll see if I can think of anyone, though.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited.
I saw some pansies. I love pansies. One of my favorites.
It's such a strange sight, the two of them here now talking and laughing.
It certainly is. Back then, Maria was putting on an act, and Giselle was still in her role as the maid. This feels so much nicer. It's warm, and they're both themselves now.
I was going to say it's boring. There's no tension.
Normal is best. It's a luxury many aren't afforded. Well said. And it's something I wish to do my best to never lose again.
There's no curse to get in the way anymore, so you should be fine. This is how things were meant to be. Besides, I know you. No wall is too high for you to scale.
I suppose you're right. That goes for you too, Morgana. You're not bound by the curse anymore yourself. Well, we should probably head up now. I'll probably come back down this evening with more refreshments. Would you like to help me make them?
The two of us cooking? I hope you have a hearse parked outside to collect the bodies. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to give it a try, though.
Yeah. Two people who were shut-ins like their whole life cooking together is kind of terrifying. What? You made dinner? Michelle is already a surprise, but you helped too, Morgana? Good heavens, what miracle am I witnessing?
That's a very unique, and rather rude, if I do say so myself, way to say thank you. Would you like to try that again?
Sorry, I just couldn't believe my ears. I'm thrilled though, really. If you don't mind my asking, where's the food?
It'll be here shortly. Michelle's carrying it in. Come on, Michelle, hurry it up. What's taking so long?
Don't rush me. I'm trying to keep my balance on the stairs so we don't have a disaster on our hands. If you want to speed it up, you could always help me carry it.
You need the exercise. I believe in you.
Finally made it. The food's here, everyone.
What's in the pot? Vegetable soup. With extra vegetable.
Didn't you say you were going to bring us something light and easy to eat outside? I was expecting like sandwiches or even sandwiches. Trying to tell her you wouldn't like it.
Quiet, you. Vegetable soup is all I know how to make. It's safe, impossible to mess up, and a good source of vitamins and minerals. What's not to like?
Wow, this is really nothing but vegetables. Not even a scrap of meat.
Are you vegetarian, girl? Or practicing to go live in the mountains?
Anyway, I'll run to the bakery and get some bread. We'll probably want some cheese, too.
Grab some beer while you're out, too, would ya? I know we're not quite finished for the day, but it's cool, right?
All right, sure. But today's the one and only day you get to drink on the job. I love them getting to be normal.
There's nothing better than a cold one outside at this time of year. Nice cool breeze to go with it, too. It's perfect.
And then when summer comes around, there's nothing better than a cold one outside on a hot summer day.
You know me too well. And when winter comes, it'll be better way to warm up in this cold. Michelle, you're not a child. Stop trying to avoid the carrots.
I was just saving them for later.
Is that so? Well, then I'm counting on you to eat all the leftover carrots when we're done. Man, when you came out with the frickin' vegetable soup, I was getting ready to start looking for an escape plan, but I can kind of dig this.
Feels like we're all one big family sitting around the table like this. I did not expect that from the old lady on the third floor, though. My, dinner outside tonight? Are you doing barbecue? No? Soup? You're having a soup party? Goodness me, kids these days certainly are unique. And then she just disappeared. Not another word. The imitation probably wasn't necessary, Giselle. I feel bad making fun of old people.
I bet money she's the type of lady to invite herself to a barbecue and scarf up all the meat. There's nothing wrong with vegetable soup. It's great, really. Very cozy having everyone together, eating from the same pot. And it's got this real nostalgic flavor to it, too.
Oh, 'cause it's what she made I didn't even think about that.
Not sure why, though. Maybe my mom made something like this? Perhaps she did. There's a comforting familiarity to this whole situation. I've been here before, a long, long time ago. And I never imagined the stars would align like this again. I wonder if everyone else from back then is alive somewhere, too.
Everyone but Javi. Poor guy.
The girls from the brothel who pampered me like a little sister. The men from the slums peacekeepers group. Jaren and Even. Alright, time to crack open a new can.
You've had more than enough, Maria. We still have work to do today.
Psh, take the stick out of your ass, you party pooper. I can work just as well tipsy as I can sober. You should have some too, Giselle. And you too, Michelle. Hell, you're over 16, right, Morgana? Then beer it up too. I'll pass, thank you. I am not a fan of drinking.
I don't handle alcohol very well either, so I'll refrain too.
You're no fun. Alright, Giselle, you've got a drink for all three of you.
No, I'll have a little, but that's it.
The whole world is spinning.
My, master, it's quite rude to stare, you know. Oh dear, don't tell me you don't remember me. This is quite the predicament. I remember you perfectly, and you can drop the maid act. My, is that so? I'll be right out with some herbal tea to help wake you up. You need help waking up more than me.
Well, shit, I went a bit overboard, huh? Was not expecting her to get this kind of drunk. Looks like you won't be getting any more work done tonight. Should probably at least clean up this mess. I'll give you a hand.
So, Master, when are we going to have our wedding? Giselle, we can talk about all that when you're sober.
Sorry for making such a mess out of things. Hopefully Giselle's hangover isn't too bad.
I made sure she got plenty of water before putting her to bed. She should, hopefully, bounce back quickly.
Well, I certainly enjoyed the chance to see a very unusual side of Giselle. I wish you the best of luck on planning your wedding, Michelle.
None of you are going to let me live that down, are you?
I really did have a great time, though. We should absolutely do this again sometime.
Of course. We'll have plenty of opportunities to get together going forward.
We sure will. Well, I gotta head home now. Night, everyone. Catch y'all later. Have a safe trip, and see you again.
We should head back inside, too. You can come up to her apartment if you like, or you can head up to yours. It's up to you.
Hey, Michelle? I had fun today.
That's great. I had fun, too. I hope we'll see you at the soft opening party in a couple weeks.
I'll give it a tiny bit of consideration.
Friends. Family. Oh boy. Oh, I should replenish my water before we get into this. Because I'm gonna need it. And that does it. We're all ready to go. Ah, so pretty.
You sure went all out on the decorations. Maybe even a bit excessively so, even.
First impressions are the most important after all, so I wanted to make it a good one. It's almost time. I'm getting kind of nervous.
We're just having friends over for a casual party today. Save your nerves for the real grand opening.
Sure, it'll be just friends, but I'm still making the food and serving drinks and stuff. That's plenty of reason to get nervous.
You just have to put it out on the table and everyone will serve themselves. You'll be fine, I promise. Just take a deep breath, girl. Think of this as a dry run, no pressure. You're here to have fun, not a breakdown.
Deep breaths. I'll do my best.
Right over your head. I know you'll do great tonight and the grand opening. Hell, I bet you'll handle it even better than me.
You really think so?
You've got a lot of experience cooking. You're a quick server and even quicker at cleanup. You're so damn on the ball, you'd think you grew up working as a maid at some bougie estate.
I'm tempted to tell her that yes, in fact, I was head maid at a Sicilian mafia estate and that she was a maid there too.
You'd be the model owner if you weren't such a heavy drinker.
Huh? Heavy drinker? What are you talking about?
Damn, you don't remember, do you?
Wow, this is quite impressive.
The decorations are so excessive, it feels like you compressed an entire festival into your courtyard.
I went all out and then some. I'm so glad you came, Morgana.
I'm not staying, just thought I would stop in and say hi.
Now, don't be like that. Lots of people are going to be here. I'm sure you could make a friend or two.
Not interested, thank you. Out of curiosity, though, who exactly is coming?
I invited everyone in the building. People who've supported me over the years, some friends from high school and uni. Plus some of Michelle's coworkers. We invited our parents too, but they couldn't make it, so that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and some of Maria's friends too.
Not many. I only invited a few. And speak of the devil, here come the first two.
Oh wow, they're early. I need to go get...
Oh my god, it's amazing! There's so many adorable decorations!
Don't run, Nellie, you'll hurt yourself. Oh, hello, Maria. It's nice to see you again. I'm so sorry for barging in like this. Why are you friends with them, Maria?
Huh? Should I not be?
No, well, it is kind of weird how you be friends with kids so much younger than you.
We met at the cafe where I used to work. I wouldn't say we're close enough to be considered friends, but I heard they'd be in the country, so I figured I'd give them a call. Should I not have?
No. By all means, it's fine.
I want to open a cafe as lovely as this one day. Then I can make sweets all day long.
That might not be the best idea, Nellie.
What? Are you saying my sweets are gross?
I never said that, no. Oh, hey, we should go introduce ourselves to the owner. Good evening, ma'am. It's a pleasure to meet you, and congratulations on the opening. My sister and I were invited here tonight, courtesy of Maria. I apologize for intruding on this gathering of Cliff's friends. This is truly a lovely cafe, and I'm certain it will be the talk of the neighborhood for many years to come. Thank you so much. You're very kind, and please, you're not intruding. A friend of Maria's is a friend of ours. I hope you both enjoy the party tonight. Oh, wow, it's Mel, but he's not a disaster?
Mel, come on, you're forgetting something.
What? Oh, right, that. We brought you some treats from London. I hope you enjoy them. Never mind, he's apparently just as much of an airhead. That's a relief. Oh, you didn't have to do that, but thank you very much. You said you were from London, so you're here on vacation then? Yeah, we're in the country for a family vacation, and today we left our parents off to do their own thing.
I can't figure out if they're here for vacation or to compete in the Old Timers PDA contest. It's kind of gross.
And as you can see, my sister was getting tired of having them around. It's just the two of us. Wow, well, I'm really glad to hear you all seem to be getting along. Oh yeah, how's your grandfather doing? Huh? Why do you want to know about our grandfather? He's in London, probably enjoying the peace and quiet. Oh, that's great. Sorry, curiosity got the better of me. Though now that I think about it, their grandfather might not even be Hayden in this life. If not, I hope he's out there somewhere too. Healthy and happy. Hayden! Oh. Truly did nothing wrong. Hayden Rhodes. What a king. Anyway, please do have a good time. And if you're ever in the country again, our doors are always open. Of course, we appreciate the hospitality. Oh. Are you here for the party too? You look to be about the same age as me. It's nice to meet you. I didn't do anything, did I? But she seemed upset.
What a snobby, stuck-up girl. Forget about girls like her. They're not worth your time.
I guess, but there's something about her that catches my eye.
What? You didn't mean you...
No, not like that. I don't know. I feel like I've seen her somewhere before or something. I can't put it into words, but there's just something about her. Not in a love-at-first-sight kind of way, though.
Is that so? Well, even if it was love at first sight, I wouldn't have gotten in the way.
You wouldn't have?
Because I'm your sister. I'm not going to stop you from doing what you want with your life. Even falling in love.
Wow. Thank you, Nellie.
Not at all. But if you ever fall for a girl who's not good enough for you, know that I will completely destroy her.
Completely is a bit excessive. Looks like I need to be careful when I find someone so no one gets hurt. I hope I can be friends with that girl someday. Nope. She said no. Oh wow, that is a lot of people. Maybe we invited too many. The party's going to be over by the time I've managed to greet everyone. But first, Michelle and Morgana are still here. Great. I've tucked away into a corner, but still here.
Maria! Sorry I'm late. The traffic was insane. Oh. There you are. I thought you decided to ditch. Not that I care either way. Why do you have to be so mean to me, Maria? You're not like that to anyone else. Is it because we're such good friends you're comfortable speaking your mind around me? Girl, I wish I could get my head as far into the clouds as yours. You pretty much hit the nail on the head, though. You're so cute, Maria.
Pauline, perhaps we should first say hi to the host. Sorry, my earphones fell out. You can catch up with Maria after that. This is the owner of the cafe here, Giselle.
Oh, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Pauline, and Maria's friend, and Yukimasa's girlfriend.
The pleasure's all mine. Oh wow, I was not expecting her. Oh really, I shouldn't be surprised considering Yukimasa has already showed up. And she chose him again too, which I should have expected. I really hope nothing goes wrong. Already did. We're past that now. I hope you're able to find happiness this time, Pauline.
Huh? Not sure where that came from, but sure, thanks. I've always been happy, though.
That's wonderful to hear. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
What?
She's kind of an odd one, sorry. I should have warned you.
I do not want to hear that from you of all.
I'd like to offer you my sincerest gratitude for your help over these past weeks. The renovations proceeded extremely smoothly thanks to you. Not at all. If you ever need more help, you have my number. Yes, I do. You'll be the first one I call when the pipes burst or the power goes out or the walls start falling down. You should probably call a professional for those. Oh. I didn't mean to make him sound so disgusted. Oops.
Would you mind telling me what I'm looking at? Why are they all here?
I have no answer for that, Morgana. Your guess is as good as mine.
My head hurts. The boundless sphere of fate turned out to be disappointingly small.
That's the thing about fate. You never know what it'll take you next. Not until you're right there in the moment.
I have no intention of making friends with them just because our paths crossed, though. This is nothing more than a hiccup.
You don't have to get close to anyone if you don't want to. That's your choice.
I'm too tired for this. Too many people. I'm going back inside before any of them have a chance to talk to me.
Alright, well the party's only just begun. So if you change your mind, you're welcome to come back down at any point.
That's a very big if.
Oh, Michelle, perfect! Pauline and Yukimasa just arrived. Good evening. My name's Michelle. Giselle's told me just how much help you were on the renovations. Thank you for that, and I apologize for not introducing myself until tonight. How can you be so composed? I've been freaking out all night here. I saw, and I must say it was rather entertaining to watch. Wow, you're a jerk. Not at all. I quite enjoyed the work. It was a fantastic outlet for my pent-up stress. That's great to hear. Don't want to let stress build up too much. Or you might start killing people. Indeed. I feel like I've seen you somewhere before. Like in a stained glass window. For the last time, I am not an angel. Oh, yay. Besties. They get to have a friendship again. Mel gets to be friends instead of... well, maybe still a little terrified of him, but... yeah, they get to be in a good... pals. Aww. Unlikely allies. Oh, yay, the girls. My gals, my baby girls. I haven't seen Morgana in a while. Did she go back inside? She said she needed a break from all the people. Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping she would enjoy seeing everyone and mingling. I can understand why she wouldn't want to. She didn't forgive them for what they did, only decided she didn't want to curse them anymore. If I were her, I wouldn't want to make friends with them either, knowing what they had done to me, regardless of it not having been this iteration of them. I suppose you're right. I do think it would be nice if someday she could come to move past it all. They're not the same people they were 1,000 years ago. I don't know what they've gone through in their new lives, but something tells me they won't be making the same mistakes. They look the same on the outside, but I can sense a strength and unity from the way they interact. Newfound determination, if you will. At least, that's how I read it. And I pray you're right. The 3 days I spent with everyone here, and it was in a realm outside reality, meaning I had never really interacted with any of them until this life. But still, I like to hope that the conversations we shared and the vows we exchanged still existed somewhere within them, an infinitesimal fragment of their souls. Good news, yes. And so the party came to a quiet end. From a distance, it looked almost like a big 1,000 years in the making reunion. But only myself, Giselle, and Morgana appeared to have those memories. Everyone lived their own lives, with very little overlap. Though I couldn't help but sense the hand of fate in those who had been especially close in their previous lives, coming together again in this one. Even without the witch's curse to bring them together, their souls had still formed profound bonds. Bonds naturally born from an unnatural length of time shared together in the realm of the dead. And I believe that although Morgana had only wished for Giselle and I to come back, it was these unimaginably powerful connections that had allowed all of them to be reborn into this era. Nonetheless, seeing them again still came as quite a surprise. But now that our paths had crossed once, perhaps we were at a greater chance of it happening again in the future. But for now, there was little point speculating about what may come our way. We had our own lives to live too. A completely fresh start, and we wanted to make sure we got it right this time. We were no longer under the influence of the curse, which meant no more reconstruction for any of us. This was our one chance. That went for them as much as it did for us, so we had to make the best of it. Live our new lives to their fullest.
It was raining that day. I lamented the present, knowing nothing yet of my past. I didn't care what happened to me. I was convinced I was the most worthless person in the world, that I belonged nowhere. Having regained those lost memories, though, my grief for this life has been made all but irrelevant. However, I haven't forgotten the 2 weeks of normalcy that pulled me up from that dark place.
Morgana? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same thing. It's not raining, so you have no reason to take this shortcut.
I've taken this route home every day since you left, chasing after shadows that had long since disappeared. Oh, sorry. That was kind of creepy, wasn't it?
You've been crossing through this park every day for a year now?
1 year and 2 months. It was spring when you were here last.
I see you're as nitpicky as ever. Late spring, early summer, it's all the same thing.
They are both beautiful times of year, yes.
Am I dreaming? Did you say something positive?
How have you been?
Well enough, I suppose.
What brings you back to this park? I hope it's not that you can't go home again.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm just on a walk. I moved out of that home and into an apartment recently, where the owners are currently throwing a party. I snuck out because it was exhausting me, and I'll head back in a bit when it's safe again.
I see. You never were good with festivities, huh? Reminds me of that time at the Midsummer Festival.
I don't just mean that there was a lot of people. The people from back then have begun drifting together again.
What do you mean?
My landlord is Michelle. Giselle lives with him too, and I've been hanging out in their apartment quite a bit lately. So I'm doing well. Life is good.
That's great. I'm glad. That's what I want for you. So I guess he got to be the one to set you free this time too. All I ever do is hurt you.
Were you not invited to the party? Maria said she was asking everyone she knew.
She did, but I wasn't much in the mood for merrymaking, so I decided against attending.
I assumed she didn't tell you I was going to be there then.
She probably thought I wouldn't go if I knew, which in the end wouldn't have changed anything either way. But I think I made the right choice. Anyway, I'm glad to see you're doing so well. It's a huge relief, and I mean that. Plus, you've got people you can talk to if you run into any bumps in the future. You're in a good place. I couldn't be happier.
It really is a good place, yes. There's one thing I want to tell you.
I'm all ears.
I appreciate what you did for me last year. Thank you.
You're thanking me?
If you hadn't taken me in, I quite likely would have died out here. And the note you gave me, that last day. Because of that, I was able to find hope and the strength to fight. Reading what you wrote there helped me realize something obvious, that my life belongs to me. A fact so simple and self-evident, and yet so elusive to me. You're the one who helped me reach that truth. I stopped letting him trample all over me, and it worked. It was far from an easy battle. He had lots of nasty things to say in the process, but his words, they somehow didn't hurt me anymore. The determination to take my life into my own hands gave me power. The will to search for a way out, of which there were many hiding in plain sight. I just had to open my eyes. So many options opened up to me. Not to mention, knowing what I'd been through in the past made what I was going through in the present seem rather trivial. It could always be worse, couldn't it?
I know it isn't my place to say this, but your pain is not trivial. Once again, you were born into a family that doesn't love or appreciate you. That's a terrible thing to have to go through. That said, I'm glad you were able to get out. And I hope that one day, perhaps you can be reunited with your birth father, or that your mother is able to open her eyes.
And I don't. Even if by some astronomical chance either of those are to happen, there's no guarantee I would be able to forgive them. I'm happy with what I have now.
I'm glad.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I wanted to say. I've given you my thanks.
You sure love your formalities. No thanks were necessary.
It was bothering me, and now I feel much better. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, everything's settled between us now. So long, Yakupo. I'm going to live my life the way I choose.
I see. And I'll be praying that it's a life full of happiness, because that's all I can do for you. Farewell, Morgana. Wait. Don't go, Morgana. I know that the right thing to do is to just let you go. And I know that you have people in your life now that will treat you right. That with our memories, I'm nothing but a blight. But despite that, despite every last thing, I don't want you to leave me. I love you from the bottom of my heart.
You're such a half-wit. I wonder if you have any wits left in you. Why did it have to be me? Why do you love me so much? So much that it's turned you into this sad, blubbering mess?
God, I wish I could tell you. It would be so much easier if I could just let you go. But my heart won't even give me the option. Again and again, I tried to convince myself to cast these feelings into the fire, but nothing worked. There's nothing I can do.
Heavens. You escaped one curse only to end up under another. I want you to know. It's your fault I'm in this world now here.
What do you mean?
By leading your soul out from that illusory realm where it was meant to fade into nothing, my own soul ended up stuck on the same path. You remember that, don't you? The endless fields of wheat, that foolish dream world.
I remember, but wait. I always thought that was just my own self-serving fantasy. Are you saying the you in that dream was actually you?
That it was. What a dream that was. You saying you'll win my heart, pleading with me, wrapping your arms around me and sobbing like a child. You don't have a shred of shame in you. So what's your next move now that you've stopped me from leaving?
I want to put my arms around you again.
Absolutely not. Burn in hell, you disgusting man.
If not that, there's someplace I want to take you.
And where's that?
Our homeland.
Sure. Let's go search for our homeland.
Are you sure, Morgana?
Don't blame me. I've spent so long here that your idiocy is starting to rub off. And when we go, we're bringing Maria as well. You have as much responsibility to her as you do to me. I don't expect you to never fight, but no more betrayal from either of you. You're no longer under my curse, so if you mess up this time, you have absolutely no one to blame but yourself. So don't you put me through that.
No, you don't have to tell me. I'm not going to screw up again. Because I know what's really important now. Thank you, Morgana, for showing me the way.
For the record, though, I still despise you. I just can't put it in the past like Michelle and Giselle. So you'll need to do that much better for me now. Enough to blot out the seething hatred you instilled in me then. Enough to convince me not to want to curse you again. And then maybe one day, I'll be able to feel the same way about you as you do me.
I will. Absolutely. You have my word, Morgana.
Hey Mel, does the whipped cream look whipped enough?
I think it needs to be a little thicker if you want it to stand up on the cake.
Boo, whipped cream is better soft and fluffy. It looks cheap when it's really thick.
I wouldn't say that. Why even ask me if you already made up your mind?
Oh, are you done cutting the strawberries? Hurry up, I want to put them on.
That trip to France seemed to really lit a fire under you, huh?
Yep, I'm going to become the greatest patisserie in all of England. No, in all the world.
Well, I'll always be there cheering for you. I give her a week tops. She could maybe become the best patisserie who uses the most sugar in the world.
All right, I've got lots of work to do.
It's great that she has something she wants to do, though. Maybe she'll even stick with it, and her dream will come true someday. I guess I'm the one who should stop buckling down. I need to come up with a dream of my own.
Hey Yukimasa, I've been wondering, does watching people die like this in movies do anything for your urges?
Not in the slightest. I mostly watch them by force of habit now. But I still prefer them to movies where everyone gets happy endings.
Then you must not have enjoyed our first date very much. If you let me choose, I always go for the sappy stuff.
You must not be enjoying this one.
No, I am. I used to think sad movies and violent movies weren't really my thing. But as I've started giving them a chance, I'm finding that they're not that bad. Maybe it's in my blood too. You don't want to watch movies about people getting hurt. You want to hurt me for real, don't you? You don't need to hold back. Come at me. I can handle anything.
Stop it. Don't talk like that. I swore to restrain my urges. If I ever do hurt you, Pauline, then that's the end of the road.
For you and for me.
Pauline, are you really okay with...
Of course I am. This is the path I chose. And I don't regret it for a second. Because it means I get to spend my life with you, wherever it may end.
No! Stop. And now your vows. I take thee to be my wedded wife. To have and to hold from this day forward, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. According to God's holy ordinance, and thereto I pledge thee my faith. I take thee to be my wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. According to God's holy ordinance, and thereto I pledge thee my faith. The stained glass in the background. I've never noticed this. Oh my god. Stop. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh, I've never noticed that. What the fuck, Hana? What the fuck? That's so cruel to me. Oh my god. You may now exchange your rings. She's shaking. There's nothing to be nervous about, Giselle. You said your vows without any problems. I'm not nervous. I'm just doing everything I can not to burst into tears. This is fucking same. I don't want to make a mess of the ceremony by sobbing in front of all our guests. If you want to cry, you're free to cry. Honestly, I doubt anyone here would be too surprised. Hey now. Oh, they have roses. I didn't notice these things. I was too busy looking at how pretty Giselle looks. Like, on God. The ring's on. And may it symbolize many, many more happy years together, Giselle. Of course, Michelle. I guess you really are the master of the house now.
Fuck, that really was the wrong turn. Ugh, I knew we should have taken a left back there.
Seriously, do you not know how to read a goddamn map?
Piss off, I made one little mistake.
No, this is the third. The other 2 times I caught you before you could take us off course.
Fine, I'm so sorry. If you're gonna bitch about it, I'll drive and you can navigate.
No, you drive like a maniac. You take us straight off a cliff in 10 minutes tops.
I'm not that bad a driver. Well, you sure never stop complaining, and you're just about as driver as her. There's no winning here. Ugh, I'm gonna be sick.
Christ, it'll be night by the time we reach the lodge. Where the hell even are we right now? What kind of rental car doesn't have a GPS anyway? This isn't the goddamn Stone Age.
Come on, this ain't half bad either. If we don't make it to the lodge, we can figure something else out. Getting lost is half the fun of traveling. Let's just take it nice and easy. I'm sure Morgana'd like it if we took a break here and there too. I'll leave everything to you.
Alright, fine. The view here honestly isn't terrible, considering we're not even at our destination.
You think? Looks like just a regular old wheat field to me. I'm sure it was nothing special there too. Huh? Where? Nothing. It's not important.
You're probably right about that. I never needed to make it to the top of the world. The most important things are in those nothing special places. I just wasn't able to see it.
What has gotten into you two? Getting sentimental over nothing? Crap, I think I got some dirt in my eye. Oh, I'm tearing up here. Something's gotten into me too, man. It's like I've been looking for this kind of quiet place my whole life.
I'm glad I got to see this with you both.
God, stop with the mushy crap. You're gonna make me sick. What's next? The sky falling and busting up our car?
Christ almighty, you're the one who keeps telling me to be more open about my feelings. Hypocritical much?
I'm getting there. Just give me a second. I'm glad I could be here with you two, too. And I couldn't be happier to have you in my life. Me too. I'll cherish this moment for as long as I live. And I think I can even feel kind of grateful that I was born again into this world. You're in there, aren't you? You, the other side of me, and Michelle the saint. You can see this, can't you? The home you so long to see again. We're here. It's not just the 3 of us looking up on these fields. There's 4.
What's up, Morgana?
Oh, nothing. Anyway, we can't spend all day here. Let's get back on the road. As beautiful as the scenery is, our check-in time isn't getting any further away. And no amount of sentiment is going to change that.
What's gotten into you? A few minutes ago, all you could say was, I'll leave it to you, and now you're taking charge?
You always gotta sweat the details, don't ya? Morgana's getting excited to get going, so let's get going.
I hope you figured out how to read a map this time, Maria.
Trust me, dude, I got this. I am starting to think this map's a bit outdated, though. It, doesn't exactly match up to what I'm seeing, you know?
We're never going to get there.
Oh, right, at the next light.
You sure? You absolutely positive? You checked at least 3 times, right?
I did. Have a little faith, my dude.
Oh my god. Wow. Rito Beto. Thanks for this. God, this is... I really love the ending of this. Because, like, for all of its sappiness, it's still very grounded in reality the way the rest of the story has been. The fact that Pauline and Yukimasa don't have this perfect life. Mel's kind of still an asshole. I just realized that these are like tears falling on the parchment. That's fine. It's fine. This song is beautiful. I was singing it this morning in the shower. And the fact that Morgana is like, alright, I'll put you back in my life again, but you better fucking make it worth it, or else. I really like that. And I love that they're just this little family unit now. And they get to be happy. Where's Javi? Where's the brothers? We don't know. But that was it. That was Reincarnation. If I had known it was only going to be an hour left, I would have finished it last week, actually. But I thought it was going to be more like 2 hours. I guess I read faster than I give myself credit for. But in that case, let's get our little butts out of here. So, wow, we've come a long way. We finished the main story, we finished Requiem, we finished Reincarnation. Now we've unlocked extras. Extras, 2 things in this version. So we've got the concert hall, which is all the music. There's so much good music. It's also on Spotify, which I do love. Do love me some. And there's like a few extras actually on Spotify now that I can think about it. Is this? Yeah. Interesting. And then the ones that have lyrics, it actually, let me pull up. Let's see here. Let's flashback here. And there you go. It's got these really cool. It's got these really cool backgrounds and translations as well, which is really cool. If we want a really good one, oops, this one. That's what I wanted. Yeah, it's got this like bricked, faded image of Maria in that dress. Penitencia. Yeah, this shit's so good. Yeah, anything that has lyrics, on there. Actually, I wanted to see while I'm over here. There's one song. Oh yeah, this song has this like chant to it that I really don't know what they're saying in the song, but I really wish I knew. Anyway, this is a thing you can just play around in for forever. And then there's the art gallery. Now, if people were going through taking screenshots, actually don't worry about it because the screenshots are all in here once you unlock the extras. We've got this really harrowing picture of Jacopo and Morgana together. We've got that with this. Look at all these memories. And then we've got a little faster, please. Yeah, it's got the ones from Requiem for Innocence. Oh Classic. And this one from Fragment. And it's even got the one from Reincarnation. Which is really nice, because sometimes you want to use things for pose references, and you want to see outfit references for cosplay. Sometimes you just want something nice. Like this. Kill me. Anyway, and then it's got some illustrations. If you have the art book, a lot of these are in the art book, but some of them aren't, like this one, which is very cute. She has Morgana as her phone case, which I think is kind of funny. This is one of my favorite illustrations ever. Just so sweet. Also, this is very cute. Maybe Javi reincarnated into that cat or something. Yeah, there's this really cute one. It's a Christmas illustration. This really cute one for Reincarnation. In another illustration, Michelle's brother Didier is wearing that shirt instead, which I think is funny. If we want to see how messy Michelle's room is, woo. This is just his bathroom, but that's still pretty bad. Oh boy, my boy. Yeah, and then this really cool one for the short stories, which we're gonna go ahead and move on to, because we have time. Wasn't expecting. Pleasant surprise. Anyway, yeah, those are the extras that you unlock. Now, if you are getting a new copy of Fata Morgana and you already know everything, you can go to this thing called Backdoor, and it gives you a very short, easy quiz. And if you do that, you automatically unlock everything. But let's get into this, shall we? Vast majority of happenings in this world are not recorded in stories, either too trifling or adding no meaning to our lives. These are facts, yeah. So we discard unnecessary fragments of our lives that are lost to the ether, and yet tales afforded not their moment in the limelight, left to waste away in obscurity. That is the short stories. I think, this is maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think the short stories have some of the best writing in the series. Just really fantastic stuff. So we're gonna read at least this one today, and we'll see how time goes. Maybe we'll read defectives as well. I'm gonna mostly just read these in my natural voice. So if you're not into that, feel free to not listen, read them for yourself, unless they're narrated by a specific character, which usually they aren't. But let's start with a slow killing poison, shall we? Okay. The maid spoke little of what happened after the white-haired girl's disappearance in the era of roses, for she believed the rest of the tale was insignificant, of no value to share with her listener, the white-haired girl herself. Thus, her role as storyteller ended with the girl's departure from the stage, and while the other characters' stories continued on, they were cut away from the script, afforded not their moment in the limelight, left to waste away in obscurity. Arthur Baldwin was vexed. Shortly before they were to be married, his engagement to Nellie Rhodes, the eldest daughter of the Rhodes family, had been broken off. He understood well enough why it had happened, and had it been his decision, he likely would have made the same one. So Arthur's dissatisfaction lay not with the dissolution itself, nor did he bear any fault in it. His bride-to-be had simply been gripped by madness. I hear she attacked an Abigail. Oh, I was told she took one of her eyes out. Even worse, she killed her. Those are but rumors, my dears. The truth is so much more dreadful. I used to work at the Rhodes Manor, you see. And the young lady, she... Initially, Arthur was skeptical of what people were saying. He assumed the tales were being exaggerated as they spread. But when the head of the Rhodes family came personally to deliver reparations and formally nullify the engagement, he gave Arthur a rough overview of what had happened. It was apparently true that Nellie had assaulted an Abigail. And it was true that she spent most of her time in her room now, looking pale and sickly and drained of her spirits. And when he said outright a demon possessed her, Arthur had little choice but to believe something wasn't right. And to top it all off, Nellie's older brother, Mel, ran off to become a priest, presumably to get away from everything. And that kind of ties into what he was doing in Reincarnation as well. Nellie's father implored Arthur to remain discreet about her situation. Not that he had any intention of going around and spreading personal details about her life. However, rumors have a nasty way of slipping through the tiniest of cracks, sneaking about through the dark like a seasoned cat burglar. What nobles like to refer to as social gatherings were in practice more like gossip gatherings, and in short order the Rhodes family's eldest daughter was the talk of high society. Incidentally, the painter whose downfall eventually culminated into this tragedy was also strangled by the noble grapevine, though Arthur had no way of knowing as much. Perhaps the painter's curse extended beyond the girl's hair color, and the Rhodes family was destined to be brought to ruin by the gossip of their fellow aristocrats. Oh, if only he knew. One evening, Arthur decided he would sneak into the Rhodes manor. He had requested visitations with Nellie on numerous occasions, but had been turned away every time. She's in no condition for company, was what they kept telling him, which left him no choice but to see her uninvited. The aroma of the roses seemed more overpowering at night than during the day, and he wasn't sure whether that was just his imagination. The nagging irritation it caused him, however, was not only in his mind. Arthur instructed his coachman to wait on a street a little ways out, and made the rest of the way to the manor on foot, entering through the garden. As he waded through the sea of roses, he clenched his teeth. Arthur preferred restraint when it came to both gardening and girls. What am I doing with my life? How did I end up here, sneaking about trying to find that obnoxious little girl's room? Arthur had few pleasant memories of this rose garden. The Rhodes and Baldwins had a long history, so as a child he would often find himself left here to play while the adults did business. It was him, Nellie, who could never seem to stop hanging off her brother, and Mel, the textbook definition of a well-behaved aristocrat boy. Not once had he managed to step into the siblings' private world. There was only room for the two of them, leaving Arthur stuck out there all by himself. The best he could manage was a little teasing now and then. For example, saying her hair looked like the color of fallen leaves. I never asked for this engagement anyway. Who would even want to marry a girl who thinks herself some kind of princess? Not me, that's for sure. But still. He had known her practically his whole life. Of course, he was going to be curious when people were saying that she had gone mad or been possessed by a demon. He was just curious, he told himself as he drew nearer to Nellie's window. The curtains appeared to be drawn. He couldn't see anything inside. So he crouched down to pick up a few pebbles to toss over the veranda. A few soft taps rang out in the night before the curtain finally shifted. A few moments later, a young girl stumbled out into the moonlight. Despite already knowing the answer, his first thought was, who is that? He wanted to smack himself, but at the same time it was hard to deny the discrepancies between the girl standing there and the girl of his memories. The moonlight seemed to give her flaxen hair a ghostly bluish tint. It fluttered in a passing breeze, and Arthur felt something about her he had never had before. She's so pretty. Oh, slow down. What's wrong with you? I guess I should make him British, right? Pretty. That self-centered, spoiled little brat. There wasn't a trace of the rambunctious Nellie he had knew to be found. She stood there by the veranda's railing, gazing vaguely off into space like a pensive spirit. It wasn't at all what Arthur had expected to see when he came calling. He assumed she would be nothing but skin and bones, haggard and unsightly. Now, Lady Nellie, do you not think it rude to not at least greet me? We were engaged, as you might recall. Her eyes still unfocused, Nellie turned her gaze down toward where Arthur stood. It was a reaction, but he still felt as though she had snubbed him, which did little to alleviate the irritation building up since he had arrived. Look, it's like a scene right out of your beloved Romeo and Juliet. Not that I'm here enthusiastically, of course. Mumbling complaints to himself, Arthur climbed a nearby tree, leaping from a branch onto the veranda. And there she was, within an arm's reach, but as distant as ever. Still, he could see nothing in her eyes. Hello? Say something already, would you, Nellie? Perhaps she really had lost her mind, not just in the sense that he had been led to believe. Arthur spent a few moments pondering how to proceed. He didn't consider himself a model gentleman like Mel, not even slightly, but he wasn't so crass as to laugh it off either. You certainly are quiet tonight, aren't you? I'm not sure how I'm supposed to act when you're acting like a complete different person. Every time you open your mouth, I want to sear it shut. You're always complaining, nothing is ever good enough for you. But right now I just want you to say something. Anything. How am I supposed to know what's going through your head if you don't tell me? Or is it just nothing at all? Nellie's gaze glided past Arthur into the rose garden behind him. Nellie, are you listening to me? He tried again and again to get her attention, calling her name, waving his hand in front of her face, gently tugging on her hair. But in all his attempts were fruitless. She simply stood there, lifeless, a well-crafted doll. He wasn't sure exactly how to describe how he felt. Slightly unsettled to start, a bit of pity to go with it, and a great deal of something yanking at his insides. Arthur had few pleasant memories with the Rhodes. That didn't mean he wanted to erase his past with them entirely, though. But looking at her, this empty shell, he felt almost as though those days were disappearing with her. How irritating. He knew the word wasn't right, but he went with it anyway, heaving a sigh after letting it linger in the air for a moment. It's always been like this. I'm no more than a buzzing insect to you. I can't stand this dreadful rose garden. It was exhausting having to come here again and again just because our families are close. I would try to say something and you go running off to your darling brother's arms. Dearest Mel this, dearest Mel that. Is that all you know how to say? And he would just give you this half-hearted smile and pretend to be sorry for not paying attention to you. Arthur looked out over the garden as well. He was more talking to himself than he was to Nellie. I'm sure you don't remember, but one time I even brought you flowers. What were they? Some kind of anemone, I think. But you wouldn't take them. You said the roses here were prettier, so you didn't need my flowers. What a miserable day that was. But standing beside this silent spectre, melancholy overwhelmed any anger or frustration he might have felt otherwise. Perhaps it was because nothing he said managed to elicit any reaction out of her. Or perhaps because he wished he had come out and said all this sooner. Unless expressed, feelings merely fester. I don't care one bit about you, and I mean that. It's only ever been about doing what's best for my family. Of course, Nellie was a perfect example of why you couldn't let everything out either. The gossip spoke not only of her attacking an Abigail, but of her destroying her relationship with her brother. And that was likely what had done the most damage. Knowing what he knew of Nellie in her younger days, Arthur had little trouble believing what the rumors said. That her affection for Mel went far beyond simple familial love. It was for my family, but that doesn't mean I wasn't going to try to get along with you. You probably don't believe me, since I certainly never acted like it, but I genuinely did want us to be on good terms. It's just, you had to be the one who changed first. You were always treating me like I was worthless, like I meant nothing to you. Not like any of that would have left even an impression in your one-track mind, of course. But that's why I wanted you to take the first step. I'm not some wise old monk who can just turn my frustration off on command. Arthur let out another sigh. Do you think anything would have gone differently if I could have been more grown up? A gust of wind blew through, sending up a flurry of rose petals, carrying them up past the two of them, and through the velvet curtains into Nellie's bedchamber. A faint smile crossed her lips. Arthur could only guess at what was going through her mind, what was reflected in her eyes. In her room, he could see several pairs of small children's shoes, a doll with its hair all neatly made up, a pile of sheet music drawn up for her by a respected composer in years earlier, and toys carved from wood. It was like he was looking through a window into the past. That was all he needed to know. He couldn't have treated her like the princess she thought she was, and she would have gone down the same path. Nellie's eyes were on one person only. Arthur wasn't even a shadow on her peripheral. Your brother's still smiling for you in there, isn't he? And that was all she needed. After that night, Arthur stayed away from the Rhodes and never mentioned the siblings again. It was the best thing to do, he thought. He had his own life to worry about. But fate wouldn't allow him to avoid hearing about the family from time to time. About 4 years later, Nellie, who had apparently fallen ill, passed away at the young age of 18. The Rhodes held a small funeral service, which Mel did not attend. Arthur couldn't even begin to imagine what he, her brother, felt about it. But another 3 years later, Mel followed behind her. At the age of 24, he threw himself off the top of a church tower. According to those near him, he had been acting unusual in the months leading up to his death, claiming he could hear a woman's voice talking to him. If he had taken his life out of grief, 3 years seemed like too long of a gap. Perhaps it had been built up over time, and that was how long it took to reach the boiling point. But that's not how it felt to Arthur. It felt like Mel had been guided there by a higher power. Or maybe pushed. And there was one other strange detail. He had died at exactly the strike of noon. As the bell rang its 12th toll, ugh, got the shivers. Yeah, I really like, I mean, it's terrible, but I really like the denouement of the Rhodes siblings. I think it's a very appropriately written ending for them. Alright. We'll do one more, and then that'll be it for today. Defectives. Oh, this is one. Oh, I need to turn on my light. Hang on. It's so dark in here. It gets dark so fucking early. So sorry. Okay. Not me knocking everything over when I did that. Classy. Anyway, this one, Defectives. Let's go. If you already know, like, the first line, you see all the Japanese names and you're like, oh, okay, I know who this is about. In the distant Hoei era, where the Tokugawa shogunate governed feudal Japan, Yukimasa Aida made his living far to the west, with little knowledge of what lay beyond the borders of his own native country. The land of the rising sun was an isolated nation, turning nearly everyone away save for traders from a few specific regions. And those restrictions applied equally to Japanese who had departed the country before they were put in place. Yukimasa was a third-generation immigrant, having never once set foot in his homeland. And for that reason, as a child he held great adoration for his glorious nation described by his grandfather. And he was particularly fond of the katana passed down to him by his grandfather. Though it bore no name, the blade had curiously bestial glimmer that entranced Yukimasa at first sight. The katana had belonged to Yukimasa's grandmother, but she had passed away before he was born. His grandfather described her as a skilled swordswoman, which is pretty badass. Slight in frame, but easily able to take down several men more than twice her size. After his grandfather passed and bequeathed unto him the blade, Yukimasa would, from time to time, see phantoms of a young woman drenched in blood. She had sharp, narrow eyes like him, that looked more like his than even his parents. He felt almost as though his own reflection had stepped out of the mirror to cut him down. Or like they were a pair of killers, standing shoulder to shoulder. I also really like this. I like that he takes after his grandmother, and she was like an assassin. Love that for her. Obsessed with her. Well, I would have wifed her too. With each recurrence of the illusion, it took root even deeper into his soul. And Yukimasa grew ever more certain that one day he would cross over into her world. That he was simply holding in his true nature. That the beast dwelling within would break loose eventually. This tale, however, is of a time when he was still more man than beast. Defectives. In the wake of framing and killing 2 crewmates for smuggling Spanish silver, Yukimasa was having something of an identity crisis. On both occasions, he had been smiling during the act, at least according to those who had seen him. If what they said were true, he wasn't conscious of it, but he didn't particularly doubt their words either. It was in all likelihood, true. He had killed 2 men and enjoyed doing it. What unsettled Yukimasa most, though, was that his initial reaction was, I wonder what I'm going to become. Not a moment's concern for the men whose lives he had stolen. Once their still warm bodies hit the water, that was that. He held no nostalgia for the months they had spent out at sea together. He didn't care what kind of men they had been, or how much their families might grieve over the loss. Yukimasa wondered if that made him narcissistic. The lack of interest in anyone but himself seemed to fit the bill, but he didn't actually feel like he held himself in very high stature. He simply had this vague awareness of himself as a twisted, unsightly creature. On that day, the ship stopped at a small port town to replenish supplies and give the crew a few days to stretch their legs. They were still about 2 months out from Amsterdam, where his beloved awaited his return. Yeah, there is the confirmation there. What a hellish trip that was, a crewman of Western origin, naturally, muttered. If I never have to hear the word smuggle again, it'll be too damn soon. The way the whole crew's got their cheeks clenched after that's about driven me mad. Not blaming you, I mean just how it is. Yukimasa shook his head and gave the man a faint smile. And in his mind he chuckled about how no one could seem to see through his mask. The blame lay with him for much more than just the tension on the ship. Real shit job you got stuck with there. I don't know if I'd have been able to do it and keep a straight face like you did. But you're aching to let off some steam, ain't you? You can be straight with me. I could certainly stand for some relief, yes. That much was true. However, Yukimasa meant it in a very different way. Come with me tonight, then. I know the perfect place to get you just what you need. The tan seaman smirked, which was all Yukimasa needed to know what he was insinuating. He hesitated to come up with a response. Worried about Captain Asuma? Don't. I ain't gotta tell him. Besides, it's not like he doesn't have his needs too, you get me? Some of the crew knew that Yukimasa was romantically involved with the captain's daughter, and the man standing before him seemed to assume his hesitation stemmed from that. But Captain Asuma would, as the seafarer had said, spend his time off satisfying his personal needs. That was just a part of life on the sea. Everyone understood and no one considered it being unfaithful. Requiring a ship full of vigorous young men to save themselves for their partners, who they would often not see for months at a time, could in fact be considered a form of torture. That's why they fucked each other. Gay pirates, baby. There were a number of brothels scattered about the port town. For them, sailors were practically the ideal clients. A ship only stayed around for a few days to a week, meaning no time to get attached or cause other similar problems. About the only complaint a prostitute might have is that the sailors tended to be quite pent up. They weren't the kind of client a new recruit could generally handle. That settles it. Tonight. Grab something to eat, and then we'll meet up at... Yukimasa forced a smile for the man, who had taken his silence as a yes. But he wasn't worried about Captain Asuma finding out or being unfaithful to Pauline. He simply wasn't sure how much he could trust the seaman's recommendation. And the last thing he wanted was to catch some kind of disease. Yukimasa was paired up with a skeletal girl with faded brown hair, which she had done up so much it only served to emphasize the lack of anything else on her body. This is your idea of the perfect place. He couldn't deny his disappointment at his assignment, who boasted absolutely nothing of what he sought in a woman. In fact, he was afraid he might snap her in half. As the other pairs heated up beyond the thin curtains, Yukimasa's interest plummeted. If a woman tried to seduce him, he would act in accordance with his base instincts, but otherwise, Yukimasa didn't have a particularly strong libido, so...
You're not into this at all, are you?
No, I just...
It's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you want to trade me for another girl. I used to have a few regulars, but these days I've got nothing. Sooner or later, they're going to toss me out on my ass, and I'll have to resort to back alley quickies to make a living. You're the customer. You've got every right to complain to the manager about drawing the short straw.
She sounded like a woman hanging from her last thread. I'm not going to cause any trouble for you.
Well, aren't you, sweet? Your loss,
she said with a snicker. I object to being called sweet, but anyway. I stand out more than most, so if I make a scene, it's more likely to escalate.
You even went out of the way to explain yourself, so I object to your objection. But you do have a point. You're from the Far East, aren't you? Don't see many of your kind around these parts, so it's no surprise you draw attention. You know what? I've changed my mind. Don't ask for another girl. Clients like you only come around once in a blue moon, so I'd rather not let you go. Let's both avoid making a fuss and stay here together.
You make it sound like I'm some kind of exotic animal.
You're cute when you scowl. We can find out if you're an animal later, but you certainly are exotic.
You're not even going to pretend this is a business exchange anymore, are you?
I mean, why bother? I'm just the leftover scraps that nobody wanted.
There was something oddly charming about her gleeful laugh combined with her stream of self-deprecation, which would have been less of an issue for Yukimasa had he become physically intimate with Pauline yet, because by comparison this prostitute would look like nothing more than a couple dried twigs tied together. But he wouldn't be able to see Pauline for another couple of months, and he was beginning to think this girl might do the trick for now. Their ship was scheduled to stay in port for about a week. Although they would have to spend some time moving cargo on and off the boat, the stay was, by and large, a recreational one. It was early in the afternoon, and while much of the crew had gathered together to go drinking, Yukimasa was taking a relaxed walk along the shore. He was no less interested in exploring the unfamiliar port town as anyone else, but unlike them, he wasn't the kind of man whose first instinct was to go straight to the pub. They all jabbed him for being stiff and tight-assed, none the wiser to the primal urges he kept bearing within. And who would ever suspect it either? Who could watch him walk up to an elderly man fishing on the dock, ask how's the catch with a smile, and imagine a bloodthirsty beast lurked within? The man gave a lazy nod in return, adding, "Ain't half bad today." "You're a sailor, I wager." "Oh wait, my bad. You're a sailor, I wager, am I right?" the man said as Yukimasa made to resume his walk. "You are." "Well, a warning for you then, outsider. You do best to stay away from any back alleys after dark. It ain't safe at night, no how." The man... I can't. Yukimasa gave the man a half-smile, feeling somewhat patronized by his warning. He was plenty capable of discerning where the dangerous parts of town were, and he was confident in his ability to defend himself if someone tried to attack. "There's already been several victims." Yukimasa froze. "As in murders?" "Killed deader than dead, and they still ain't caught him neither. Wouldn't want any of our guests to end up next on the list." "Out of curiosity, how does he kill?" The old man turned his gaze down, his face becoming a shadow against the clear blue ocean stretching out behind him. "He dismembers him." "Hard to imagine, eh? Cutting a person into a bunch of pieces. He don't discriminate neither. Man, woman, child, don't matter none. He's a sicko, complete madman. And they ain't found no pattern to the victims neither. Nothing to say who he might be or who he might choose next. So don't think you're safe just 'cause you're not from around here." Yukimasa could feel his vision narrowing, converging on a single point. Oh, he could imagine. He could imagine clear as the afternoon sky. And oh, how he wished that could be. "Well, look who it is." "Oh."
Well, look who it is. Fancy running into you here.
A woman's voice dragged him back to reality. He felt like he had just been pulled up from the bottom of the ocean, and when he turned to face her, he must have still looked a bit dazed, judging from the way she raised her eyebrow at him.
Oh, let me guess. You don't recognize me all made up for work? It's me, the girl from yesterday.
She held her hair up in an approximation of her previous night's hairstyle, to which Yukimasa gave an in feigned realization. Naruhodo ne, mitaina.
So what are you doing wandering out here? Bored? Got nothing better to do?
He wondered if the woman was even capable of being less blunt, especially considering he had, technically, been her client the night before. "I'm just taking a walk."
Not much to see out here.
"There's the ocean."
Don't you get enough of that when you're out on it?
"I'll never tire of the sight of the sea."
Is that so?
She said, followed by a softer, slightly exasperated,
I'll never understand, guys.
But a few seconds later, she gave him a big smile.
Say, hey, you're not busy. Why don't you come to my place? I can throw together a bare-bones little lunch.
Again, I'm taking a walk, and bare bones is hardly a convincing sales pitch.
I'm saying if you want a quality meal, pony up for some goods.
Ah, so that was what she meant. Apathetic but finding no reason to turn her invitation down, Yukimasa agreed to go along.
I've taken a liking to you,
she had said.
Stop by whenever you got the chance, at least till you have to take off. I can treat you even better than when I'm in the job, and free of charge. What do you have to lose?
So that's exactly what Yukimasa did. Seeing her became part of his daily routine. And the more time they spent together, the more he learned about her. She had once been married and planning to start a family, but her money troubles led to debt piling on, which led to her husband running out on her. And with the entirety of their debt on her shoulders, she had to start working, which was how she had ended up at a brothel. As she told her story, Yukimasa showed a fair degree of sympathy, but he took the whole thing with a grain of salt. If everything she said was true, she had had a hard life indeed, but there was no guarantee it was. Yukimasa made certain not to be openly dismissive or skeptical, though. To play the good listener, I have a hard time reading things out loud because I read very quickly, but my mouth can't keep up with it. There was one thing he could be certain of, though. He felt a tiny bit of solidarity in the woman's solitude. The sense she was missing something. The sense she had a hunger. The sense she had a hole that couldn't be filled. The sense that she was defective.
You know, we get on pretty well, don't you think? Maybe you could, I don't know, take me as your mistress?
She sounded like she was only playing around, but he responded to her with, "It's not wise to pair two defectives together."
What's that supposed to mean?
She said with a scowl. Yukimasa's ship was to depart the following day, and that evening the woman asked him to stay the night, to which he was unsure how to react.
Don't you have work?
Don't you have work?
I'll just say I wasn't feeling well. It's not like anyone wants me there.
But don't you need the...
I can survive taking one day off. I want to be with you.
And with that, he could come up with no further objections. Regardless of what he did, he would be heading back out to the sea the following day, likely never to see the woman again. So rather than waste time debating her own life choices, it would be easier for everyone if he could just let her do as she pleased. Tomorrow, none of it would be his concern after all. He agreed. She gave him a big smile in response.
I'm going to make you a feast tonight,
she said.
You're paying, though.
Yukimasa wondered if perhaps what she wanted most was to play like they were a real family. That was probably it. What she was missing in her life wasn't love or romance, but someone to sit around the table and enjoy a meal with. But that raised a new question. What happened after she'd had her fun? She'd found someone to fill the hole in her spirit, but it was fake, and the hole wouldn't stay filled forever. Oh, I'm doing something terribly cruel to her, aren't I? There was nothing he could do about that anymore, though. Even if she were to ask him to stay, he didn't have that option. May I ask you something? He said.
Yeah?
How did it feel when you lost your family, your sanctuary?
You sure know how to go right for the heart.
I apologize.
I don't want to think about anything that might bring my mood down. If you want to know what it feels like, experience it for yourself. Find yourself a girl and get her to run off on you.
Well, he'll do something like that. Seemingly taking his silence for discomfort, the woman let out a soft laugh and said,
But I don't want you to have to go through that.
Supper was a seafood stew. Hardly a feast, but there was a homely warmth to the meal. Something she had likely honed over the years. When a man is incomplete, missing a vital part of what makes him human, what becomes of him? Does he lash out? Does he lose the will to live? Does he forget what kind of man he is? Yukimasa didn't think he fit into any of those categories. In the middle of the night, Yukimasa silently slipped out of bed and made his way for the door.
Wait.
But he didn't make it 2 steps before the woman grabbed him by the sleeve. She must have been awake the whole time. There was no way she could have noticed him leaving otherwise.
Don't do this to me. I've had more than enough of waking up to an empty bed. And I'm not going to let it happen again. Not this time. You may think sneaking off without a word is the cleanest way to end things, but you're wrong. Stay until morning. Let me say a proper goodbye.
No, I wasn't...
You weren't what? Of course you were. I don't care if you think of me as a free tale for the week. Of course you were. I don't care if you think of me as a free tale for the week you're just going to forget about when it's over. I'm using you for my own personal satisfaction too. But the one thing I won't stand for is you just up and disappearing on me. You're not the one being left behind, so you don't understand how worthless and pathetic that makes you feel. It hurts. It hurts so much more than anything else you could do. Don't leave me.
That was probably what she had wanted to say more than anything else. The loneliness that had created the hole in her heart was making waves, and this was the real desire that lay hidden in her words. She didn't want to be alone anymore. I'm not leaving. I'll be back. There's something I wanted to give you, and I was just going to go get it.
And what would that be?
It's my way of showing gratitude.
I think the word you're looking for is presence.
Yes, that. Her eyes were locked with Yukimasa's. She was staring through the darkness in an attempt to ascertain how truthful he was being. After 10 or 15 seconds of glaring, she let him go. I won't be long, he said with a smile. As he walked down the moonlit port, Yukimasa's mind raced. No one truly understands themselves more than superficially. Some say you know yourself best. Others say it's quite the opposite. The concept of self is full of such uncertainties, contradictions. Yukimasa suspected, He was suppressing himself with this self. So while he had a reasonable grasp on who his outer self was, his inner self was a complete mystery. And that fact sometimes sent a chill down his spine. Who was he? What did he want in life? Which self, which of his desires was the real him? Self, 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 self. He felt sick. About 30 minutes later, he was back. Within seconds of him knocking on the woman's door, it was open. She must have been waiting there, anxious for his return. The woman met his eyes, gave him a pouty smile, and then slowly lowered her gaze. Her eyes gradually widened, shooting up and down as they did. I've never been very good about thinking of anyone other than myself. I consider myself proficient enough at conversation, but if I'm not careful, my mind always seems to drift back to myself instead of focusing on who I'm talking to. That said, I've spent a great deal of time thinking about you. The woman took a step back. Yukimasa followed. And I've concluded this is the best way for me to make you happy. She didn't even have time to let out a shriek. There was only the sound of steel slicing flesh, metal grinding against bone, as the nameless katana pierced the woman's breast. Her mouth flapped open and shut, while her eyes were held wide open, fixed on the man standing before her. Faint gasps escaped her lips in sputters. Perhaps she wanted to scream. Perhaps she wanted to cry and shout and say this wasn't what she wanted. But there wasn't enough strength left in her emaciated body to do either. As blood spilled down the side of her lips, she mustered the last scraps of her strength, and with it she forced out her parting words, carefully chosen and enunciated to ensure he heard every last one. You pitiful man. What kind of hopeless fool would throw their life away just to kill a worthless prostitute? She cursed him as her life slipped away. Yukimasa, however, let out a laugh and muttered, Don't you worry. I still have enough control to not act sheerly on impulse. Hey, Yukimasa. You hear about that whore you've been banging? She was killed last night, cut to pieces like the others. I swear it's like trouble follows you everywhere you go. Lord Almighty, stay away from me, man. I don't want to catch the attention of whatever evil spirit's taken a liking to you. That was probably best. He would be safer keeping his distance. Yukimasa gazed idly out at the port town as it faded out of view. He then turned toward the ocean. That vast, familiar blue expanse. The waves against the boat sounded vaguely like splashing blood. Can I ask you something, Pauline? Yukimasa said in the warm embrace of his sweetheart. Anything. What would you think if I were actually an unspeakably evil man? Huh? Where'd that come from? She asked with a smile, evidently assuming the question was in jest. Idle curiosity. Well, bad people come in all shapes and forms. What sorts of bad things would you do? How about committing murder? Deceiving people. The words that came from Yukimasa's mouths were not the ones he had prepared to say, which came as a surprise even to him. Why had he not been able to say what he wanted? What reason could he have possibly had? Did he not want to raise any suspicions? No, that wasn't it. Is being dishonest really evil? Sure, it's bad if you lie to cheat someone out of their money or cause them pain, but no one's perfectly honest with everyone they meet. I try to be straightforward and truthful as best I can, but I'm sure I slip from time to time. So listen to me, Yukimasa. Pauline gave a wide, infinitely loving smile. Even if you have something to hide, something you're ashamed to tell me, that won't change how I feel about you. You've got nothing to worry about. Besides? I plan to be with you for years and years to come. You want to know what my life's dream is? I'd love to. My dream is to live out a long, quiet life with you. I don't need anything extravagant, just an ordinary life, slowly growing older, having 3, maybe 4 children. We'd never fight, and eventually, before I knew it, I'd be an old lady thinking, it was an uneventful life, but it was the best I could have asked for. That's the life I want. And what about you? Now he understood. He didn't want to risk cracking the foundation she provided him, the sanctuary she formed around him. Yes, I too wish for a peaceful life with you. Yukimasa. Oh, what a motherfucker. The Not So Little Mermaid. Some of these I actually haven't read yet. So some of these will end up being blind reads, I think, because I don't have a lot of desire to do reading outside of what I'm already doing, because that's all I do for school. Anyway, but that's it. That's all I got for this week. Next week will be more of the short stories. We will get through The Paintings, Ramblings, The Revenant's Dream, and then Lost in Pain, which are going to be heavy. Heavy, friends. And then after that will be more of the short stories, and then whenever we finish, whoops, sorry you can see my mouse. Whenever we finish these short stories, if we still have time left in the year that's not like on the holiday, sorry, I'm looking at my calendar. What day of the week is Christmas and all that jazz? That's a Sunday? Fuck that. But anyway, I'll come up with little things. There's still little things. We haven't done the backstage either, which, don't worry. We'll get there. Anyway. That's it. That's all I got. Yeah. Next week, same time, same place. My brain just stalled out. And then, we'll get through at least those 4, if not more. And, Sundays will be Grandia 2. Just same old Grandia 2 until Christmas, baby. Probably won't stream Christmas. I don't know, we'll see. I don't really do anything on Christmas anymore. But yeah, take care of yourselves. Thanks for listening in, watching, whatever. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself. And I'll see you when I see you.